All right. So now I'm going to go on to section 8.3, which we'd already started yesterday, but I'm going to start again from scratch. Okay. So I'm going to close down all of these files. Now, 8.3. So I will open this here. Where is it? Now, so we have 8.3 examples. And now, so we are going to start with file input stream and file output stream. Okay. Now, so input stream is the name of the abstract class that all input streams and all output streams inherit from. Okay. So you can have an input stream reference, you can have an output stream reference, but you can't have an input stream object and you can't have an output stream object because they're both abstract classes. Does everyone understand that? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So this is the most basic file stream for reading and writing bytes to a file. So these input individual bytes. These output individual bytes, okay? They contain constructors that take a file object or a string representing a path. Data is accessed usually by successive calls to the read method. We've seen the read method. Every time you use the read method, it reads the current byte, and then it goes on to the next byte, okay? Now, until value of -1 is returned, which indicates the end of the ride of the file stream. So the read method returns an int. Okay. Now, overloaded read methods takes a pointer to a byte array, which is an array where the data is written to. Read returns an integer value indicating how many bytes can be read into the byte array. File output stream is accessed by writing successive bytes using write int and as an overloaded write byte into array method. Now, all that means is to use a input stream, if you want to access each one of the bytes, you use the read method. Okay. Now, the read method has a twofold. I'm just closing the door here because there's an awful breeze coming out. Jesus Christ, it's freezing. Okay, so we are reading in 1 byte at a time, all right? So reads in A, then it goes on to B, then it reads in B, then it goes on to C, then it reads on C, it goes on to D, and so on, so forth. Outputting, it writes A to the file, it goes to the next position. It writes B to the file, it goes to the next position. It writes C to the file, it goes to the next position. So, have we anything here in these files? No, we don't have anything in these files. So, if you have a read, all right, A, B, C, D. Read, if I call read on this file, it'll read A, and then it goes on to B. Call read again, it'll read B, then it goes on to C. Call read again, it'll read C, then it goes on to D. Call read again, it'll read D. Now, if you call read there, it's going to return -1, okay? Because it's not a character anymore. Now, writing, if I call write with A, it puts in A and it goes to the next position. If I call in write B, it goes after it. Okay. Now, so make sure there's nothing there. So we are going. We created 2 files. Okay, source and destination, which is these guys here. So my file is equal to new file destination.txt. If my file exists, my file create new file, else source.txt already exists. If my file 2 exists, my file 2 create new file. Now, so this is what we're going to be reading from. This is what we're going to be reading to. Okay. So we just created this little try block here. So the first time you run the code, if you don't have any files in here, so I'll delete the files. So the files are gone. Okay. I'm going to go here to main. I'm going to run it. It's running the wrong one. All right. So none of these, nothing is coming up here. Okay. Which means source file doesn't already exist. If I go to here, I go to refresh, we'll see that they've created there. Or if I go to run the code again, source txt already exists, destination txt already exists. Okay, so our files are created. All right, so we're going to move on to the next part. Now, so what we do, so I am going to create an object that is going to take in so here this is an input stream, new file input stream. Okay, so my file is, what is my file? My file is that guy. All right, so you can create a file input stream by passing in a file object, or you can also create a file input stream by passing in the name or a string, which is going to represent the location of the file. Everyone okay with that? Yes? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So, file destination.txt. This constructor uses a string that will be the path of the file. Okay. Now it's not a literal path. It's a, what's the other type of path we called it again?
Relative.
Relative path. Okay. That's it. Now, I had a brief look. I don't think relative paths are actually on the exam, or I don't think absolute paths are on the exam, but I think we're going to cover them all the same. I don't know why they're not on the exam. Maybe it's because they take a little bit of figuring out. But if you're going to start using files, you have to know about relative paths and absolute paths, right? Most of the time, you're going to be using relative paths. Very few times are you going to be using absolute paths. The reason you can't use absolute paths is you'd have to know then every file structure for every machine you're going to be installing it on. All right. So the vast majority of times you're using relative paths. All right. Now, this is a relative path. Now, so this is our object we're going to be using to read from source.txt. Okay. This is the object we're going to be using to output. So we're going to be using this object to write to this guy. So we're going to read from this guy. We're going to write from this guy. Everyone okay with that? Yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is for reading. So we have our two different objects. Now,
Yeah, no, just for in line 60 there, you have read and it should be write just in line 60.
oh yeah, so write. Thanks, Kate. Now, so let's just see. All right. So first of all, we're going to I just want to run it here. I have done the code here. I want to see exactly what it writes.
Either put close on. I hate when we're going to change this.
Okay. So I'm going to go here. Now, so let me just see, that is source. All right. So, destination, give me a second. It would write. Right, now, so in source, okay, in source, I want us to write the following rhyme. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Okay, so Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to read from this file and we're going to write to this file. Is that okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Now,
No, when you're writing the source file, why'd you break it down into chunks? Could you throw it all into one or not? Like
because I want to go, because as we're going to be going along, right? Now, we're not going to do it for this example, but we're going to be building up a little program that's going to count all of our words, that's going to count all of our spaces, that's going to count all of our characters, and it's going to count all of our lines.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Now, so it's going to be getting more complex as we're going along.
That's okay. No, like just I just wanted to.
Okay. Now, so all right, so I'm going to have a couple of variables here. Okay, so first one is going to be, I'm going to call this int b. All right, now, so we are reading from a file. Okay, actually, we don't need b. So I'm going to take out b. So don't need that guy. All right, now, so what we're going to do, we will count the amount of blanks in our string. Okay, so here we have, that's a blank. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now I don't have a space between as and snow, so it should be coming up with 7 blanks. All right. So I want to count the amount of blanks in our string. It should be 7. Start off at 0. Now we want to count the amount of characters in our string. Okay. We want to count the amount of characters in our string. Now remember, a blank is a character. All right. So if you want to get the amount of characters in a string, you have to count the total amount of characters and then you minus the blanks. Now, as well, I'm not going to have any decimal points or commas or anything like in that file, because you'll have to put in another counter for that. That's just making things too complicated. So if we want to get the amount of characters in this text file, we have to get the amount of blanks, then we get the total amount of characters, and the total amount of characters minus the amount of blanks. That will give us the amount of letters in this string. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah, just one question though.
Yeah.
When you put in that Mary had a little lamb, and no, obviously to get on the second line, you hit return, didn't you?
Yeah.
So is that return a character or not, or what? How would that return be?
It's
Like
an
your
escape character.
escape character. Is it?
Yeah. No, we'll see. I can't remember, but I don't think it's counted as a separate type of character, but it shouldn't be counting as an ordinary character. Do you know what I'm saying?
But that's one string now. That's just one string altogether. It's not 4 strings, no? Okay, fine. Okay.
Okay. Now, we'll just see what it comes up with when we do it.
All right, yeah.
Right. So we have the blank count. So this keeps total count of our characters. So we go int counter equal to 0. Now, so here we go. So we go while I am going to say, so hold on a second now. I changed these names to in and out, sorry. So I changed this guy to in, and I changed this guy to out. All right, now, so while in.read is not equal to -1. Now, remember, read returns positive int if it's a character, and minus and a minus and a minus and minus 1 if it's not a char. Okay, so this will keep going on until it gets to the end of the file. That's what this says. Okay, and remember, in.read, what does that do? That goes on to the next one. So it reads, goes on to the next one, reads, goes on to the next one, reads, goes on to the next one, reads, goes on to the next one. All right, now, so what it's going to do is it is going, oh shit, yeah, now I knew how to go here. So I do need to put in int b. Okay, now, so b is equal to, just do this. Right, so what we're doing here is, so b is going to be pushed, so we just go to here. B is going to be in, B is going to be A, B is going to be R, B is going to be Y, B is going to be the space, B is going to be H, B is going to be A, B is going to be D, B is going to be space, B is going to be A. Yes, does everyone understand that? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because remember, read returns an integer. Okay, it's the ASCII key code of it's basically the ASCII key code. Okay, so it returns an integer. So what is it going to do for B? So let's say it's going to be M. So then we're going to go out dot write. And what are we going to write? We're going to write B. Okay. So what is that going to do? That's going to write everything to the destination file. Okay. It's going to write everything to the destination file. Now, I'm just going to make it simple. So we're going to be building it up. So I am going to go, then I'm going to go in. Then I'm going to do in dot close. Then I'm going to do out dot close. Okay. Now, to make sure that I can read and write to it, now, so I'm going to see, does it work? All right. So source, destination. So I'm going to run it. All right. Okay, everything seems to work, I'd say. There it is. Destination. Mary had a little lamb with fleece was white as snow. So it writes it in the exact same way as this guy. Okay. How does it do that? All that does is while, so int b. So what is this? So read returns and int. Okay. Okay. Which represents the S code or a char. It returns -1 if not a valid character or int of file. Okay, so B, so in.read, that's going to read in A, R, Y, space, H, A, D, space, L, I, T, T, L, E. So that means, so B becomes im, B becomes A, B becomes R, B becomes Y, B becomes space. So it's going to write, when B is A, or when B is im, it's going to write im. When B is A, it's going to write A. When B is R, it's going to write R. When B is Y, it's going to write Y. When B is space, it's going to write space. And it's going to keep going on until in.read returns -1. Okay, it'll return -1 when it gets to the end of the file. And so you end up with that. Any questions on that?
Just a quick question though. There, if you go back to the examples there, no, you were saying B is an int, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it returns, read returns an int.
Yep.
So when you do out dot write B, would it not be writing the ASCII for that?
No. When you go to write ASCII key codes into a Word file, it'll write the character.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Okay, that explains it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, so when you go to write, so put in into a text file, it is the character value now. I'm not too sure actually how to write the. Let me just see. I presume you could do this. Let's see. Does that should write the numbers? Let's just see. Does that write the numbers? No, it doesn't. So I don't know. Is the honest answer. I don't know how. Now, if I just change the source file to Harry, and I run this again. Yeah. So I actually don't know how to write the ASCII key code.
You need to restart or anything? No.
Sorry, Iggy.
Do you need to refresh that or anything, or?
No, because I changed Mary to Harry, and it was still coming up. See, so I changed this to Mary. Right, so I changed it back to Mary. That's Harry, because write is going to overwrite it. So if I change that to an int, And the source is Mary, the destination is Harry. I'm going to, if I go to source, Mary, now destination is Mary. All right. So I'm not too sure how to print off the ASCII. I'm sure there's a method or something that allows us to do it. All right. Now, so we know how to read from one file and write to another. Okay. Now, you can do all sorts of things here. All right. So if I go counter plus plus, okay, and I can say outside the while loop, I can say there are okay, so there are 56 characters and spaces. All right, let me just count them just to be sure. So we have 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, okay, 53, 54, 55, 56. Okay, so each one of the line characters or the return statements is also considered a character. Does everyone understand that? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Space.
yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna go back to here. So I've got 56 characters, characters and spaces, and return characters. Okay. Now we can put in a little if statement inside here. So I go counter plus plus. So this counts the total amount of characters. Including spaces, return characters, etc. So this counts everything. In my case, comes to 56. Okay, so comes to 56. So I want to count the spaces. Okay, I want to count the spaces. So I can go here. If now I'm going to say if the char B equal to space. Okay. If char, so M is not a space, A is not a space, R is not a space, Y is not a space. Now what comes after Y is a space. So what we do is blank count, isn't that what I call it? Blank count plus plus. Okay. So now, oh, here's the thing as well, right? So this is good. So a paragraph, I didn't realize this, counts as a space. Now, however, if you click or return twice, this still only counts as one paragraph space. All right, so this guy here, this is counting the paragraphs and the spaces. All right, so if I go here, there are blank count non spaces and paragraph space. So if you go int total character, total char is equal to counter minus blank. Count, and we could say there are total char characters in. Right, so I'm going to run this. Okay, so there are 7 spaces and characters in our file. So there are 49 characters. So we'll see, is there 7? That doesn't seem right now to me, but we'll have a look anyway. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's counting the paragraphs. All right. It's not counting the paragraphs then. Let me just see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, no, 40, 41, 42, 43. Okay, that is disastrously wrong.
You're
Right.
counting spaces.
Sorry?
You're counting spaces, but
Right.
you're not counting new line. So probably you need to count \n.
Yeah, probably do as well. So yeah, you're right, Igor. It's probably counting \n. So if I go here, I can try this. Sorry, wrong way around. Char b is equal to \n. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
10 from 56. That's the general principle. Yeah. I'd say that's. Yeah, sorry, go on. So let me just say. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 10 spaces and paragraphs. Yes? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So 10 spaces and paragraphs. So maybe I counted them wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. So I have got 3 characters. I'm not too sure where the 3 characters are coming from. All right. So there's some 3 characters there that I'm missing out. Now, I don't know what they are. So the return characters, I've got those. I've got the spaces as well, but there's something. Let me just see.
If you turn that capital M into a lowercase, does that change it?
Shouldn't.
Just a thought. I don't know.
No, it's still just one.
No, no.
So there is some character. Now, I notice here, let's say I'm there, right? It doesn't go directly onto the W. You know, it doesn't go onto there. Do you get me? That's probably because of the line. So there's something else. There's 3 additional characters there.
To count characters, you need to use Notepad ++, and you'll see.
Say that again now?
Use Notepad ++,
Oh yeah, I think I have that.
and it'll count it for you.
Okay, I don't have Notepad++. So give me 2 seconds and I'll download it. So let's have a look. See, the beauty of being at home, you can do this shit. Notepad++.
You just paste it into Word. That'll tell you as well, won't it?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
You can
right.
use Word. And
All right, so let's see. Yes.
with Word, you can show all characters.
Right.
Uh,
So it is.
it's
Where's the word count in it?
You
It's at the bottom.
Oh, it is too. Okay.
And character, so to show all characters, you need to.
Hold on. I just do a word count, or I'll just do a character count. So characters no spaces, 43, right? Characters with spaces, 50. Paragraphs 3, lines 4.
Oh, you're missing out. You're missing out the paragraphs. It seems. You're getting a line. You're just missing out on the paragraphs.
I'll go back to it here.
Quite, aren't you?
Right, so I'm getting 10 spaces on paragraphs. That's 7 spaces and 3 paragraphs. To even show you it, but let's show you here. I am going to, so I've changed, so I create something called para counter. Okay, so int para counter. Okay, so if I go here, I will take as if char b is equal to backslash n. It's going to be, what does I call it again? Para counter. Okay, so I'll take out that guy. So I say there, so that's going to be 7 spaces. It's going to be, there are para count. So counter minus blank count minus para count. Para counter. So 7 and 3 and there's 46. There's still a 3 characters coming from somewhere. I don't know where. So because it's 40 looking word, it's saying 43, which is what I counted. So there's 3 characters coming from somewhere. I don't know where. Anyway, so because we're counting the paragraphs, we're counting the spaces, but there's 3 additional spaces. Now, what I could do.
No, is the, say, /n, is it counting that as 2? A character, for national character. For,
See here? I don't know why. Let me just see now. I get it to print. I get it to print off each character. Now it's going to be weird. It's going to look weird, but it will print it out. Okay, I want to print off the char version of it. Right. MRY1 space HAD1 space A1 space LITTLE1 space. Okay, look at after Mary had a little lamb. It puts in 2, 3, 4. It's putting in 4 spaces. Okay. White. So why? Let me just try that again. So it's put in that, put in 1 space, put in that guy, put in 1 space, put in that guy, put in 1 space. So if I do that, there are not character spaces. That's 53. Fine. All right. So if I go, Mary had a little lamb, enter, was white as snow. So 1, 2, 3. Now it's gone to 59. So something to do with present, yeah. Huh?
Sorry, before you, if you put the cursor there after each paragraph, you'll find there's a space before the return.
Yeah.
There.
Oh yeah, there is too. Okay. So it's just a fucking thing and yeah. So it's for some reason or other it's putting a space in there. Okay. Yeah, it's putting a space in again. See there? So it's putting spaces in. It's to do with something to do with Notepad. So guess what? Our code is correct. All right. Our code is correct. It's just something to do with the text editor in Eclipse putting in spaces automatically for some reason or other. Oh, again. So see all the space 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't know why it's doing that. It's putting in, I don't know. So it's just to do with the text editor. So guess what? Our code is correct. All right. All right. So this constant total numeric. So this is amount of paragraphs. So our code is correct. Or no, our code is correct is when I do this.
Yeah, Noel. Each Each line is considered as a paragraph space.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but so we've got 10 spaces and 53 characters space, so there's 43 characters in our file, which is correct. If I put in 1,
Yeah. Now there is no paragraph spaces in one line means.
okay, so I have there,
Yeah.
there's 1
Yeah.
paragraph space, and there is 44 characters in our file. There isn't, it's 43. So yeah, just something to do with. So if I go like that, we're getting 43 characters in our file, which is right. If I put in that guy, we're getting 44 characters in our file. And even when I do this, I'm still getting 44 characters in our file. So it seems no matter what you do, so that I suppose the upshot of this is don't use the text editor in Eclipse. All right? So don't use the text. Yeah? Go on. Had someone something to say? No? Anyway, this is immaterial. All right? It's to do with the text editor in Eclipse. So I suppose the upshot of this is don't use the text editor in Eclipse because that's not what it's for. All right? The text editor in Eclipse is kind of just there to display files. So Notepad is probably a better thing to use rather than the text editor. Okay. So now I'm just going to go back. Right. So now, so I'm going to delete everything from destination. Okay. Now, so there's nothing there. And just to show you again, when I run it, what's it going to do? It's going to write everything the same as in source file. Yes? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if I delete from destination and do this again, I go to example. If I run it now, okay, so let me just see. Close. Take destination. So again. Okay. Now, so when you go in.close and out.close, that is going to, now your flush may be called here, right? So here's the thing, I maybe didn't say it before. So flush is what causes this to write to this file, okay? And close has a flush inside it. However, your compile or your whatever is running the code will usually call flush before it comes to a close. Okay, it'll usually call a flush before it comes to a close, but you can't guarantee that the flush is actually called. Do we understand that? All right, because even show you what I mean, right? So look here. I
thought the close automatically calls the flush.
It does call the flush, okay, but your compiler in the background usually will call not the compiler, your runtime environment will also call the flush, but you can't guarantee it will call the flush.
Okay.
All right. So now it usually will, and particularly if you're using the more basic types, you're almost assured it will call. When you start using the more higher level ones, then you run into problems. For instance, look here. So in.close, out.close. Now, I have nothing in the destination file. All right. Source file does have something in it. Okay. Now, I run it. All right. My destination file is written to. All right. Because the flush usually is called, but you can't guarantee it is called.
No, does
Yeah.
is the flush part of, could it be part of the write? When you write the flush, like, because you have to write there, and maybe that's the flush.
No, it's not. Okay, but your runtime environment, it'll periodically call the flush method anyway. All right.
So
So
write doesn't call flush, no.
not automatically, no.
Okay.
Let me just double check that. I'm nearly certain it doesn't. So it does write in file. What do I call it again? It does write in file input stream. So let me just see. Yeah. So no, write does not call the flush method.
Okay.
Right? No, it does not. All right. Now it's talking here about buffers and all that sort of shit. It's basically quite simply is that most times when you're using more basic output streams or file readers and writers, flush method is called automatically. Now the problem is when you go to more higher level, then the flush method isn't called automatically. All right. Now even in this case, there might be some situation where the flush method might not be called. So to ensure, put in here, to ensure and make sure your data is definitely written to a file, you either call flush or you close. Now, so close calls flush. Okay. Now, it usually will be written to, but if you want to guarantee that it's going to be written to, you need to use either flush or close. Now, if you use them the wrong way around, as far as I know, it shouldn't work. But it may, we'll see. So, if I go out.close, now it might work because it might be held in a buffer. Out.close. All right, it's still written to it. Okay. I would still do them the right way around. All right. Okay, I would still do them right way around. It worked there, but I'd imagine there is a situation where if you close it before it's been read, you can't write to it. All right. Because reading should become, so you in that close, right? That ensures that your file is read. Okay. Out.close ensures that your file is written to. And you can't write before you read from the other file. So now it shouldn't, that's just a precaution. Think about it. In order for you to write to your second file, you have to first read from your second file. And in.close ensures that your file is read from. Out.close ensures that your file is written to. So in this case, It's not imperative that you do it, but I would get into the habit of doing it that way. All right. You close your reader first, then you close your writer. Now that's if you're reading from one file and then writing that information to another file. All right. Now instead of using close, you can also use flush. Okay, so flush, what this does, this flushes all the data that has been read to the buffer. Now, when you read in information from a file, it's held in your temporary memory. It's held in a buffer. All right, it's not held in a file. And what flush does is any data that's in that buffer, it flushes it out and puts it into the file. So this has also the effect of emptying out your buffer. All right, your buffer is your temporary memory. It's your fast, speedy memory. And then it's your RAM. It's going to be held in your RAM. So what out.flush, it clears out the buffer. All right, so you could also, if your buffer is starting to fill up, you can flush it out. Now, flush is called automatically when you go to close. Now, any questions on that? No?
No, that's okay.
Now, never mind about the counting. That's something to do with the text editor in Eclipse. Okay, something to do with the text editor in Eclipse. So it's just putting in spaces, putting in characters. This does work though. Okay. All right, so we'll be back again around 25 to 2. Is that okay?
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll
Thanks,
text,
Noel.
yeah, I'll text you in WhatsApp when we're ready to go again.
Thanks,
So-
Noel. Okay.
Okay, all right, so let's
Bye. Bye.
bye.